हेलो मैम।
हेलो मैम, लेक्चर नहीं है का?
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Actually, there was a problem due to which we have wasted our half an hour. Actually, we were trying to take a physical lecture also. Your four classmates are there in for physical lecture. That's why it was problem. Okay. So let us go for the next one. That means actually we have covered a whole chapter, first unit. Okay. Is there any doubt for the first chapter or any students presenting physically as well as online? If not, let us go for the next one, that is variational principle. That will be our second topic for the classical mechanics. Okay.
Ma'am,
Yes.
ते गुगल क्लासरूम वरती दिलेले असाइनमेंटचे एक्झाम्पल सॉल्व्ह करायचेत ना?
हा सॉल्व करायचे.
ओके मॅम.
Actually, it is not for your assignment, just like your exam and all. Okay. Actually, whenever you will come physically 100%, then only we will start your assignment, and that is of LaTeX. Actually, one software is there. I hope you have heard about this. With this LaTeX software is very useful for our research purpose, and even if you want to create any document in mathematics, just suppose if you want to prepare one project, because at the fourth semester you are having one project, right? So for that, if I hope you have gone through the seminars of yourself, right? So at that time, if suppose you want to write down any equation, it is very difficult to write down on the word file or on a PowerPoint presentation. आला का हे कधी तुम्हाला असं डायरेक्टली टाईप करता येते म्हणजे थोडंफार इकडे तिकडे जातात ना ते इवन सपोज इफ यू आर टायपिंग ऑन विंडोज 10 अँड इफ यू रन इट ऑन विंडोज 7 all the symbols will be here and there, right? And if suppose you are writing on a word file and if you copy paste it on a PowerPoint presentation, at that time it will be more difficult to copy paste, right? So for that we are having one software, LaTeX. The name of software is LaTeX, and for that we need one basic mictex. Okay, and the combining both, actually both software are free of cost and you can download it on your laptop and you can run it, right? So whenever you are going to start our physical lectures completely from the 15th February, so at that time we'll take your lectures on the our lab. Okay, we are having the lab for the maths and stats student. So there we are going to run the programs, right? Many small programs, just like how to write any integration equation, any derivative equation, and you have to run that and you have to show it. Okay, very simple program we are going to show for the first semester. That will be a paper for the practical. Up to now, whatever the practical you have seen in the BSc itself, मैथ्स के लिए हम लोग क्या करते थे, हम लोग भी यहाँ पे वही करते थे कि कुछ असाइनमेंट देने हैं, असाइनमेंट का नाम सो होगा, उसके नीचे सारे क्वेश्चंस होंगे, आपको सब लिख के लाना है, राइट? So but now from now onwards what we'll do is we'll have one software and we'll give you one equation. Say if it is somewhat very complicated equation, so you have to type it on a LaTeX and you have to run it and you have to show that this whatever we have written, suppose I have given you one equation, say d2y by dx2 plus say py is equals to q. This equation you have to type and you have to show it that whatever the result you got is we want to get. Okay, जो हमने आपको होमवर्क दिया था वही है, right? So in this way we have to run very smaller program and then we'll go for the next one, right? Even in the LaTeX we can have a one PowerPoint presentations also, because it is difficult to have a PowerPoint presentation for mathematics student. हम जब भी कोई भी मैथ्स का इक्वेशन लिखते हैं, जिसका सेमिनार हुआ है उनको फील हुआ होगा, राइट?
येस मॅम.
हाँ, तुमच्यामधून कुणाचा झाला का फिजिकल? नाही, तुमचा झाला का? हां, पॉवर पॉईंट प्रेझेंटेशन केलं असेल तर थोडंफार तुम्हाला लक्षात आलं असेल की इक्वेशन ते कुठे पण जातात. dy बाय dx टू जे रेस टू लिहितो ना आपण, हां, त्यामुळे प्रॉब्लेम येतात. ते त्यासाठी एक सॉफ्टवेअर आहे आणि नेक्स्ट सेमिस्टरमध्ये पण लेटेक्सच आहे, पण थोडा ॲडव्हान्स. ओके. So that we are going to see in the that, but whatever the assignment I have given you, you have to solve it, because I have a guarantee that whenever I will say you that you have to write it once, you will not write down. Okay, so that's why I am giving those assignments, so that at least you should write down those some 4 to 5 questions from each chapter at least once, so that you have a practice for your examination. मैं कितना भी बोलूंगी तो आप लिखोगे इसकी कोई गारंटी नहीं है, राइट ना? सारे नोट्स अवेलेबल है, हैंड
No, ma'am, we write.
Okay, always there are some exceptions ना. हर चीज में कुछ एक्सेप्शंस होते हैं. कोई साइकिल सीखते वक्त एक बार में सीखता है, कोई बहुत बार गिरता है, just like me. So some students are there who do it very carefully, but some of them will not do. For that, I have given you assignment. You have to upload the assignment on time, and whenever we are going to start physical, at that time we'll have a latex lecture. Okay? Is there any other kind of a doubt?
No, ma'am.
No, at that time you have to think on that ना. अगर आपको d by dx के फॉर्म में ही अगर हम इक्वेशन देंगे तो सेम सिमिलर होगा ना. It may be of d by dt type, it may be some another variable d by dz, right? So you have to think and you have to write down those assignments. Go to your library or anywhere else. We are getting the classical mechanics books are online also available. So you have to search it and you have to solve. Okay. And if again there comes some problem, you can come to. At least you should start trying. Okay. कुछ तो हमने किया है, ऐसे लाके दिखाओगे कि हाँ यहाँ पे कुछ प्रॉब्लम है, तो at that time I can help you. Otherwise, assignment are for student only. Okay. Let us go for the next one. Actually, we are having only 15 minutes. So we'll only introduce our chapter. Okay. Variational principle. Okay, actually, initially I have told you that this chapter is very important for your set net examination, because many questions are available in your set and net examination. You can download the paper and you can see many questions are there from the variational principle chapter. Classical mechanics का पूरा जो सिलेबस है उसमें से सिर्फ सेकेंड चैप्टर पे ज्यादा क्वेश्चंस होते हैं सेट नेट रिलेटेड. ओके. So let us go for the first one, that calculus. Actually, whatever we are going to see in the variational principle is only one thing, that is related to maxima and minima. I hope you are knowing maxima, minima. I was not for the seminar. I think extremum you have discussed. Seminar attend केला असेल तर माहिती असेल. Maxima, minima झालेला आहे discussion. Right? So what you have to do is, in this chapter we are going to find out the maxima or minima of the function. Right? So for that, the calculus of variation has some origin. कहाँ पे start हुआ calculus of variation? Because whenever you are going to have a derivative or integration, these kind of things we are going to study on a calculus, right? So in the calculus we have studied firstly derivative, where the concept of a derivative arises because of the small increment. Whenever there is a small increment, we are having some derivative, right? dy by dx, right? How you write the first derivative, say of f dash of x, if you want to write down, this will be limit, say h tends to 0, f of
x plus h minus f of x upon h.
So what is this h? H is a very small increment in the values of x, right? So due to this small increment, we can have the values of the derivative. Okay. In short, you can have derivative is nothing but a division, right? Integration means we are finding the area under the given curve. I hope you are knowing about integration because you are studying whole paper of Riemann integration, right? So whenever the concept of a calculus we are having, there comes a increment, very small increment, derivative, integration, right? So in this chapter we are going to study the maxima and minima. Okay. So for that, let us go for any easy example for that, so that you can understand what we are going to have in this. Okay. We'll have an example of a functional in the length between the 2 points x0, y0 and x1, y1. What we are provided with, we are having the 2 points x0, y0, x1, y1, right? Let us name this as P and Q. we are having the 2 points, say P and Q, with the say coordinate x0, y0 and x1, y1. Correct. Now, let us have this on xy plane. If we have a xy plane, let us have these two coordinates, say P and Q. From P to Q, it will travel, right? At a point P, we have the coordinates, say x0 and y0. At a Q, we have the coordinates, say x1, y1, right? So particle is traveling from a point P to Q. As we are discussing whole this in our 2D plane, so that's why we are having only x and y coordinate. Okay, simply x and y coordinate we have, and the particle is falling from P to Q. Now, if this traveling from P to Q, if I want to find out the whole distance, right? So suppose I will take the same example. That means suppose you come from your home or your stand to university. So at that time, if you want to calculate the whole distance, what you will do? Uh, Whether you are going to take a scale and you are going to measure it, not possible, right? Stand say university directly, either we can measure with the help of a velocity and all. And if suppose you are not knowing velocity, what do you do at that time? First, you will find out this smaller distance, right? Distance between these 2 points, we can name this as say xy, and the next one is x plus small increment in x plus y plus very small increment in y. So what are the two neighboring points, xy, and next is x plus dx, y plus dy. What you will do, we are having two small neighboring points. For very two small neighboring points, we'll find out first distance between these 2 points, right? So how to find out the distance between these 2 points? Can anyone tell me? How to find out the distance between these 2 points, xy, x plus dx, y plus dy?
By distance formula, ma'am.
By distance formula, we are going to find out the things, right? So let me write down the distance formula. Let us denote it by ds square, or we can have simply ds. So what will be the ds is equal to, it will be nothing but under root of, what is the things we have actually, x plus dx minus x square plus y plus dy minus y square. बरोबर ना? डिस्टन्स फॉर्म्युला आठवते का?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
x2 minus x1 square plus y2 minus y1 square. So what is your x2 is this, and y2 is this. This is x1 and this is y1. So we have done this by using our distance formula. So what will be the resultant is, it will be simply dx square plus dy square. So if it is dx square plus dy square, what is the distance formula? By using the distance formula, we are getting the distance between the 2 points. Very small distance is there in between the 2 points, xy, x plus dx, y plus dy. So if I want to find out the total distance from P to Q, so what you will do is, we are going to find out just integration, right? What you will do, simply we are going to have the integration, just like I can have the length of the path followed. I will write down the length of the path followed by the particle from P to Q. As it is from P to Q, I will write down the integration from P to Q, and whatever the distance covered between the very small distance, that is two neighboring points. जो two neighboring points है उनका distance हमने लिया है, and then we will find out the integration from directly P to Q. Okay, after finding this, what we will do is actually whatever the value of ds we have calculated, that we will write down here. This will be simply dx square plus dy square, right? So now what we will do is simply now we have to evaluate this, right? So for that, what I will do, simply I will take the value of dx, or if I take dx common, what I will remains with 1 plus dy by dx square. And if I take dx outside, so dx square and under root, it will be simply dx, correct? So integration P to Q, we will get it is 1 plus, this is simply y dash, it's a square, and here we have outside is dx. So total length covered from point P to Q will be given by this formula. Length is given by this formula, that is total distance covered between the two neighboring points, and totally we are going to take a distance from a point, initial point P to final point Q. As we are discussing this in general, so we can keep this formula as it is. If we are knowing the points P and Q, we can put up the values of and we can find out the integration. Okay. So actually now we can do the integration value, the value of this integration or the length, we can write in the form of L of y of x, because length is a now function of y, because here we can see under root of 1 plus y dash square dx. So which is equals to, we get the formula is nothing but say P to Q. Now what is formula? F is now function of x, y dash dx. Okay, so this dx we can keep it as it is. Whatever we have in the integration, it is 1 plus y dash square. For this example was very simple. We have to find out the distance between P and Q with the help of two neighboring points. First, you have to take the two neighboring point and find out the distance by using distance formula, and then you have to integrate, right? So with the help of that, we are getting this formula, and this is for very easy example. But if I want to write down for any arbitrary example, that means how to find out the distance between any 2 points on the geodesy and all. So for that, whatever this thing we are getting, this we will call it as a sum function, which is a function of x, y, and y dash, right? So whatever this we are getting inside the integration, we will name this as a sum function, which is a function of say x, y, and y dash. So this is called integration I, which is nothing but the length or the distance covered between the 2 points P and Q, which is given by the formula integration P to Q f of x, y dash dx. Is it okay with this, whatever we have studied up to now?
Yes, ma'am.
Anyone from physical student? No. So what we have done, we have simply used our distance formula and we have calculated the length between the 2 points. Okay. So actually in the next lecture we are going to study very important lemma, basic lemma of calculus of variation. Actually this lemma is very important for our whole chapter. In whole chapter, in every statement or rather in every proof, we are going to use this lemma. Okay. So in this lecture, I will just introduce the statement of lemma, and in the next lecture, we are going to have this proof of this lemma. Okay. So let me write down the statement for this lemma. You have to read it whenever I am going to write, and you have to explain me what is given to us and what we want to prove. Right. Basic lemma in calculus of variation. Basic lemma in calculus of variation. Okay, so what is the lemma? Actually, the statement I will write down: if x1 and x2 are the 2 points such that x1 is less than x2, okay, such that we have x1 is less than x2, are the two fixed point constant, are two fixed point constant, that means they are fixed point somewhere in the space, fixed point, some constant numbers we have, and let g of x, that is some function of g of x, is a particular function in x1 to x2, is a particular, that means this is some function given to us, a particular function in the interval x1 to x2, or you can say this as x belongs to open interval x1 x2. And if integration x1 to x2 g of x eta of x is equal to 0, or rather we can have dx dx is equal to 0 for any choice of a continuous differentiable function eta of x, for any choice of continuous differentiable function eta of x. That means we are provided with some function eta of x such that integration x1 to x2 g of x eta of x dx is equal to 0, such that, what is such that here given to us is eta of x1 is equals to eta of x2 is equal to 0. That means values of a function eta at two endpoints is 0. Then g of x is equal to 0. Identically, in the interval say x1 to x2. Okay. Now the statement is completed. Can you please explain, anyone from you? काय दिलेलं आहे, काय प्रूव्ह करायचं आहे? At least you can understand this ना, if then. कारवीत शिकलो ना आपण? Let me remind you. आठवत आहे का कुणाला काहीतरी?
येस मॅम.
Yes, ma'am.
काय होता?
Conjunction, disjunction.
So this is what TT, FF, then we have TF. का शिकवतो आपण, कुठेतरी आपल्याला यूज करायचं ना हे. So if then statement में क्या true है? If both statement are true, then we can say the resultant statement is true, right? What is the next thing about if and only if? Both are true, then only it is true, and both are false, then only it is true. Otherwise, it is false. Correct? So these are the things whatever we have studied in the 11th and 12th standard, we have to use here. Correct? If then statement में क्या होगा? Whatever the things we are provided in if statement, that is given to us. After then, whatever we have, it is for prove that. But it is not always true. You have to think on the statement construction also. So what is our aim to prove now in this lemma? We have to prove g of x is equal to 0 in the whole interval x1 to x2. Identically means we have to show that this g of x is a function which is 0 in the interval x1 to x2. Correct? So what is given to us actually, we are having 2 points x1 and x2 such that x1 is less than x2. Right? So let us plot this. Let us have, say we have, here is say x1 and here is say x2. It is actually provided that x1 is less than x2. Correct? Next, we are having one function g of x is a some function given to us, which is in such a way that integration x1 to x2 g of x eta of x dx is equal to 0. And how eta is chosen? Eta is chosen in such a way that the value of the above integration will be 0. And on the condition, what is the next condition for that? The value of eta function at the two endpoints x1 and x2 is equals to 0. So value of a function eta at the endpoints is equal to 0. That means we have to choose eta in such a way that the value of the function eta at the endpoint is 0, so that the resultant integration will be equal to 0. ये सब हमको दिया गया है. On the condition we have to choose eta in such a way that eta of x1 is equal to eta of x2 is 0. And now we have to prove that g of x is equals to 0, right? And if you want to prove anything equal to 0, it is somewhat difficult, right? If I want to prove g of x function to be 0, so it is somewhat difficult. So in this proof we are going to have a contradiction. We'll prove this theorem by using contradiction. That means we will assume that g of x is either greater than 0 or less than 0, right? So at that time we will have either if it is g of x is either greater than 0 or less than 0, so somewhere we are going to get a contradiction. And if you get somewhere as a contradiction, so if you are getting somewhere a contradiction, so what you will prove? We will prove that g of x is equal to 0, right? What is our aim to prove? G of x is equal to 0, right? But we will assume that g of x is either greater than 0 or less than 0. And due to this, we will have somewhere as a contradiction, and then we will prove that there is some contradiction, and hence we can prove the result. Okay. So before going to anything else, I want to ask you, how many ways are there to prove any statement? कोई भी statement हो, just like if you want to prove Lagrange's theorem, Cauchy's theorem, if you want to prove any Laplace equations, Laplace theorem, and if you want to prove any statement, say if you want to prove uniqueness, if and only if part, if then part, what are the steps or how you prove the theorem? First we'll write the given things, and if we have some construction assumption, then we will write down that. After that we will have some lemma and all, right? And sometime just like this example or this proof, we will have contradiction. Okay, we'll prove the result by using contradiction, or by using given things, or by using some assumptions. Just like suppose if you want to prove uniqueness, अगर आपको कोई चीज यूनिक है प्रूव करना है, तो आप क्या करोगे? Let us assume that there exists some another thing which is exactly same as whatever you have provided. So if you want to prove the 2 points, say x1 and x2 both are equal, that means the 2 points are same. So what you will assume? Let us assume that they are not equal. By using contradiction we can prove the result, or by using directly the steps, or by using the things you are using in your number theory paper. What do you do for your number theory paper? Induction use करते हो ना, weak induction, strong induction, right?
Yes,
Step
ma'am.
by step procedure. We will prove the result for n equal to 0, then we'll prove for n equal to 1, then we'll assume the result is true for n, and then we can generalize the result is true for n plus 1. Okay, right? Let me ask you, if you are saying that, ये पता है ना सबको induction?
Yes, ma'am.
I hope you have done it in your 12th standard also, correct? So what you have done is actually for n equal to 0, we are proving the result. For n equal to 1, at least we can prove, and we'll assume that the result is true for n, correct? Can anyone tell me whether the result will be true for n minus 1? कारण की n+1 साठी नंतर आपण प्रूव्ह करतो ना n चा यूज करून, पण हे n-1 साठी पण ट्रू असतो का?
Yes, ma'am.
हाऊ? n-1 साठी हा n-2 हे ट्रू होणार का? तेच माझा क्वेश्चन आहे ना. तुम्ही n अज्युम करतायत ना, n इक्वल टू 0 साठी तुम्ही प्रूव्ह करतायत, n इक्वल टू 1 साठी पण प्रूव्ह करतायत, नंतर तुम्ही n साठी अज्युम करतायत ना. लेट अस अज्युम दैट द रिजल्ट इज ट्रू फॉर n. Can you tell me the result will be true for n-1 also? What is my question? I think you haven't understood. Let me write down. Here it is 0, 1, 2, 3 and so on. Okay. You are saying that the result is true for this n. So what is my question? What about the things which are here before n? आपने सिर्फ 0 और 1 के लिए प्रूव किया है ना, उसके बाद के स्टेटमेंट के लिए क्या है, whether it will be true. Okay, how you have to tell me. तुम्ही काय सांगतायत? Let us assume the result is true for n. It is very easy.
मॅम ऍक्च्युली आपण n ला अज्युम करून n+1 ला प्रूव्ह करतो. मग
हा.
n-1 ला ऑब्विसली ट्रू असेल ना.
Obvious is a most
असणार.
dangerous word in mathematics. You have to prove it. Obviously आहे, पण मला प्रूव्ह करून दाखवा तुम्ही n-1 साठी कसं ट्रू होणार आहे.
n इक्वल टू m असं यूज करून करतो ना मॅम n+1 दाखवण्यासाठी.
हा, मग
तेच यूज करायचं मॅडम n-1 काढताना पण.
n-1 साठी पण तेच यूज करायचं.
हो.
पण इझी आहे ना, n-1 साठी पण तुम्ही तेच प्रूव्ह करणार आहे, करेक्ट. त्याच्या अगोदरचं विचारलं तर n-2 साठी परत तुम्ही प्रूव्ह करून दाखवणार का? n-1 साठी
मॅम n+i where i belongs to any integer असेल तर ते रिझल्ट ट्रू असेल.
Okay, let me have one statement. You after that you have to explain. आप लोग सही जा रहे हो, but let me explain you. What is this n? Can anyone tell me? And then I will ask you. ये
नॅचरल
n
नंबर.
के कुछ restriction है क्या? No doubt it is greater than 0. Whether it is given that n is equal to 100 or n
No.
is equal to 10,000 or n is equal to some number fixed. प्रूव्ह करताना तुम्ही काय करता? 0, 1 साठी प्रूव्ह करता, नंतर डायरेक्टली लेट अस द रिजल्ट इज ट्रू फॉर एनी n. अगर n आपको पता ही नहीं है तो n-1 भी पता नहीं है ना आपको, सो दैट इज ऑल्सो ट्रू ना, बाय डिफॉल्ट ट्रू है वो, करेक्ट. If you are not knowing n, what about n-1? That is also not known to you. And if you are saying the result is true for any n, okay, what is the statement? Let us assume that the result is true for any n, and if it is true for any n, what about n-1? It will be true because n क्या है आपको पता ही नहीं है. Just like mathematicians do many things related to x, but they don't know what is x up to now, right? Na, we are doing everything on x, but we don't know what is actually x. So just like that, if n is not knowing to us, what we can say about n? It is true for n-1 also ना, सिर्फ एक नंबर कम हो रहा है उसमें से, right? If you are assuming for n, obviously it will be true for n-1. So this n-1 now I can have, this is equal to some m, so I can say now the result is true for m. Okay, if I am saying that n-2, prove the result for n-2, you can say this is some number, say x, and we are saying that the result is true for x. Okay, so let me stop the lecture. You will have the next lecture also. Okay. Can leave the meeting.